Good evening, and welcome to our monthly community conversation around voting and election issues sponsored by the Black Graduate Greek Council of Carbondale and the Carbondale branch NAACP. My name is Tangela Oliver. I am the president of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, Mu Eta Zeta Graduate. Our speaker this evening is Dr. Linda Flowers, the president of the Carbondale branch NAACP. The topic this evening is election and voting tools and resources. I will now turn it over to Dr. Linda Flowers.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. Oops. Okay, here we go. This information this evening is being presented in the spirit of our national NAACP president and CEO, who says voting rights should not simply be a priority, it must be the priority. As the president of the Carbondale branch NAACP, as we get closer to elections, people almost always ask me, who should I vote for? The NAACP is a nonpartisan advocacy organization. We cannot tell you who to vote for, but we can tell you that every time there's an election, you need to vote. This evening, we want to help you out with that by sharing some websites and some tools that can help you make informed decisions when you go to vote. So we'll start with the NAACP.org website. And Jennifer is going to help me. When you log on to the NAACP.org, this is what your screen will look like. Jennifer, if you will click on Find Resources. And then if you will click on Legislative Report Cards. So for all of our senators and representatives in the U.S. Congress, can you go down, Jennifer? On this website here, you will find, let's click on Find Out How Your Representative is Voted. So we know that our senators and representatives take thousands of votes each year. So the NAACP has picked out issues that are close to the heart of the NAACP. And for each of those issues, depending on how the legislature voted, they will get a did not vote, they will get a grade of A, B, C, D, or E. Then if we go on down, okay, let's look for the state of Illinois, Jennifer. Okay, for Illinois, you see our two senators, Richard Durbin and Tammy Duckworth. And for each of the issues that were chosen by the NAACP, it shows you if they voted in favor of those issues. And then at the end of the line, you see that both of our senators for the state of Illinois, depending on how they voted on issues important to the NAACP, they received a grade of A. If we go on down to the representatives, and we'll just keep going down, and when we get to the issues, it describes each of the issues that they were graded on, and then we find the state of Illinois again. And in Illinois, we are in the 12th district. Our representative is Mike Bost, and you can see how he voted on each of those issues. And he has a grade based on how he voted on issues important to the NAACP and people of color. He has a grade of F. So this, you can look at those issues that are important to you. Okay, Jennifer, we're going to go on to the next one. and you can vote accordingly to issues that are close to your heart. So now we're going to go and look at the next website. Okay. Sorry, it took me a minute to share. And the next website is www.govtrack.us. This website will allow you, again, to track the vote of our US senators and representatives. And we won't open this one up because we just looked at the NAACP. Well, let's open it up, Jennifer. So here's govtrack.us. And do you see where it says find your representative and senators? And it asks you to put in your home address. Let's put in the address of let's 217 North Marion, Carbondale, Illinois, 62901. And then we're going to click on go. And based on your address, we see who our two senators are, and we see who our representative is based on that address in the state of Illinois. For Mike Boss, Representative Boss, let's go back up. Let's pick one of our senators. Let's pick Senator Duckworth. Click on View Legislative Profile. And then we're going to click on track her. And when you track this legislature, you can get updates about any major activities, any bills that she sponsors, and how she votes on roll call votes. So you wouldn't have to open this up every time, but whenever she took a vote, whenever there was a roll call, then you would get an automatic message on how Senator Duckworth voted. Okay? Do you see there where it says view? Okay. Should say view legislative profile. Okay, go on down, and it gives you a graph of how she voted, tells you what bills she sponsored, what committees she's on. And then let's look at the voting record there. So here's some key votes. And here again, think in terms of during the course of the year, they're voting on lots and lots of things. Let's look at defending public safety employees. She voted on HR 2146. She voted no. Okay, when you click on that, then you'll get a graph there, how many Republicans voted in favor, how many Democrats voted in favor, and how many voted against. So here you can not only educate yourself, but also educate your friends and your loved ones. Here you see 218 Democrats versus 208 Republicans. The blue and the red voted for that particular bill. And you can get a graph and these numbers on any of the legislation key issues that are chosen. Okay, let's go ahead, Jennifer, and we'll move to the next one. Okay, the next one is VoteSmart. And actually, the whole name of this website is justfacts.votesmart.org. Here again, you can enter the politician's name or address. Let's pick Representative Boss, Mike Boss. Let's put in his name. And then there we get Representative Boss. And then with the facts, we can click on bio. Let's click on votes though. Okay, track this politician. Well, no, let's just go on down, national key votes. Okay, so let's look at these. The Women's Health Protection Act of 2022, that vote was taken on July 15, 2022. And we see that Representative Boss voted no for that bill. Also on July 15, Ensuring Access to Abortion Act of 2022, we see that Representative Boss also voted no. July 14th, National Defense Authorization Act, he voted in favor of that. So any key issues, here again, close to your heart, your organization, then you can track how your legislatures voted for those. Let's move on to the next one, Jennifer. We're going to go to vote.org. And the NAACP has recently partnered with vote.org for the upcoming November 2022 election. I really like at the top of this one, they give you the time left until election day. Here you can check your registration. A lot of times people aren't sure, and we know that if you go for years without voting, your name may be purged from the list. So you can check and make sure that you are registered to vote. You can register to vote. You can change your address. You can put in a request to get a ballot and vote by mail on this website. You can go on down, Jennifer. You can even just make a pledge to register. You can encourage your family and friends to make a pledge to register. You can get information here on early voting locations, find your polling place. Typically, in working the polls during the course of the day, we do have people who come in and they aren't sure what poll they should be voting at. You can locate the drop box in your area, although I can tell you in Jackson County, we have two, one at the courthouse in Murfreesboro and one at the police station in Carbondale. You can also track your ballot application. Sometimes people aren't sure who's on the ballot. And then if we go down, you have a list of the 50 states. You can pick your state and get all of the information that you want to find out about when registration ends, when early voting ends. So all the information here, all in one place. Let's move on to the next website, ballotready.org. Here, let's put in an address. Let's use that same address, 217 North Marion, Carbondale, Illinois, 62901. And then it also wants you to pick a language. And maybe they picked a language for you. Then here's the election center on ballot.org. Here again, you can find out who are your elected and appointed officials based on your address. Why don't we pick on that and see who's representing us right now? We see president, vice president, our two senators, the representative for our district, our governor, lieutenant governor, and then all of those state offices, including our state senators, representatives, and this is just for that address. And it goes all the way down to our county legislatures. And here you see, based on your address, it gives you the Carbondale city council, mayor, the townships. So lots of information there. If we go back up to the top and let's pick on another category up there. Okay, those are just, here we can pick all the people for that address, or just the federal, just the state, just the local, but let's do the back arrow back and get to the home page. Here you can check your registration, you can donate. A lot of these websites, they're giving this as a free service, and so they do take donations to keep their websites going. Let's click on the Get Involved and see how you can help your community. Get involved today. We're going to go down and look at these real fast. You can host a ballot party. You can become a supervisor. You can teach the curriculum. You can give some virtual workshops like we're in tonight. We want to be of the mindset that it's not just enough for me to vote, but we want to get involved with encouraging other people and educating other people to make informed decisions when they go and vote as well. Let's look at the next website, vote411.org. And I think you have these all in the chat, right, Jennifer? This is a website that
I'll put them in there.
Okay, thank you. This is a website that is sponsored by the League of Women Voters. And if you look at the top, you can register to vote. You can verify whether or not you're registered to vote. And you can find out what's on the ballot, who's running for what. So let's go on down, and here again, just like with a lot of them, you either put in your address, or if you're looking for a specific legislature, you put that information in. Here it says, when you put in your address, you can see what's on your ballot, who's running for what. You can check your registration, find out your polling place, where it is you're supposed to go to vote. Sometimes that may change from where it was the previous election. So you want to make sure you know where to go. And then with the League of Women Voters, they frequently sponsor debates and candidate forums. So you can look and see what forum or what debate is coming up close to you based on putting your address, city, and zip code in here. Let's go on to the next one. VoteQuadrant.com. Now, this website has a specific focus, and it focuses on municipal offices, the mayor, focus on the district attorney, the police chief, and the judges. And this website is considered, they developed this to be a strategic voting system to end police brutality, is what they have here. And since people like the police chief are typically appointed, then they look at all of those offices around the criminal justice system and to impact police brutality or the criminal justice system and who impacts the police, then they use this to be kind of a active, wanting you to do something. You see here, when you put in your address, you can see who the judge is, the mayor, who or in our case in Carbondale, it's the city manager who is responsible for the hiring of the police chief, who the district attorney, and in some of those larger areas, police commissioner. So here again, they think that it's not enough for us to just vote, but it's important that we know how to vote and what positions in our communities impact those people who are in the criminal justice system. Our next website, actually, we're not going to go to another website. We'll go back to the PowerPoint. And let's share. And I'm going to have to get caught up here a little bit. So, ballot ready, vote quadrant, we just looked at. Okay, you can also hear a couple of other websites over elections.il for Illinois.gov is what you can look at it here again to register to vote, to check your voting status, to change your address, to look at when early voting days start. And then this last one here, whenweallvote.org, is a website that was initiated by our former First Lady, Michelle Obama. And the When We All Vote site has lots of action. They plan action dates around different events that are going on in neighborhoods. So if you want to get involved, go to When We All Vote and you can sign up to get involved with some of those action days. Here's one I thought was important for all of us to know. For those people that you may know, or even for yourself, if you run into any problems on election day, if you're told you're not registered to vote, you can't vote, then there are some phone numbers that you can call on election day and get some immediate help. Now, these are just some websites that we chose. They are not inclusive of all of them. If you have a pen and paper, I'll give you some names of some others that I'm less familiar with, but you can familiarize yourself with to educate and advocate. There is a rockthevote.org, and there's a ballotpedia.org, as well as a ballotready.org. In closing, well, here, with many of the tools that we just shared, we want you to remember something. They can work with all 50 states. They're free for you to use. They don't cost you any money. You can donate, but you're not required to donate. They provide you with information to educate yourself and others, as well as to inspire people to exercise their right to vote. Most of those websites are guaranteed to be neutral, unbiased, as well as non-partisan. If we look at quotes by two former presidents, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd president of the United States, says, nobody will ever deprive the American people of the right to vote, except the American people themselves. And the only way that they can do this is by not voting. The NAACP currently is having their 113th National Convention in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And the theme is, this is power. And we've been talking all week in Atlantic City about our power as American people. Your power is in your voice. Ronald Reagan, the 40th president of the United States, said, for this nation to remain true to its principles, We cannot allow any American's vote to be denied, diluted, or defiled. The right to vote is the crown jewel of American liberties, and we will not see its luster diminished. I'm not sure what President Reagan would think if he could see the voter suppression bills that have been passed and that are pending in a majority of the yet to be United States today. Questions, Ms. Robin? I'll stop the share.
There's only one question on there,
Okay, yay.
and it says, can you look at the wording on the home rule question for the Carbondale residents? It's worded in such a way that people might think they are voting yes for home rule. In actuality, a yes vote means you do not want home rule.
Yes, I think that not for our August conversation, but for our September conversation, we will again be looking at voting issues. And home rule is one of those issues that we will be looking at. And specifically, we'll be talking about the advantage, disadvantage, and the wording of that so that people will know how they're voting, not how they should vote, but how they're voting and what a vote for yes means versus what a vote no means. So September 3rd Tuesday, we'll be talking about home rule as well as other issues we need to consider for the November 8th, 2022 election. For next month conversation, as we're getting closer to election, we're going to be looking at the when, where, and how to vote, voting by mail, voting early. So we'll be looking at the logistics of the November 8th election.
The next question is, who will be the guest for the session mentioned?
For the issues, it'll be Dr. Randy Burnside. I think he did our last conversation around election issues for the primary as well. Is that it for our questions?
That's all we have. Wait, hold on. What about home rule?
We'll talk about home rule at our September community conversation. I'm not sure. Is there something else to that question?
That's all I had was.
Okay. And I do know that the city manager has been going around to community organizations. He did come to our new Rotary. He did speak at the Neighborhood Alliance, specifically explaining the home rule issue. I've seen it on the front page of, was it the Southern or the Carbondale Times? And they were talking about what a vote yes or what a vote no would mean for the city of Carbondale. So we will do our part to help educate people around the home rule issue. And we're going to be done early tonight, huh? If you're interested in any of those websites, they are in the chat. You can copy them, and please continue to educate yourself so that we can go to the polls and make an informed choice when we go to elect our public officials. And having said that, seeing no more questions, right, Ms. Robin?
No more questions.
Okay, then we'll thank you for joining us tonight, and we will see you on the third Tuesday during the month of August, where we'll be
Thank you,
discussing.
Dr. Flowers.
You're welcome. Thank all.